What up, everybody? My name is Sonny Traoré, and you are here with the Fire This Time podcast, episode 109. Today, we're going to be talking about Burkina Faso and the Sahel alliance, particularly asking the questions, did the commander of AFRICOM get fired for insulting Burkina Faso's revolution and the Pan-African backlash that ensued? Also, we're going to be asking the question, what is the effect of AI on discourse concerning the Sahel revolutions, particularly Burkina Faso and Captain Ibrahim Traoré? So, welcome once again. I got my brothers here with me, Slank and Aki the G. Say what up, y'all.
What's up, y'all?
And we're gonna get started, y'all. So before we get into the first topic, I'm gonna pass it over to my boy Aki the G, and then we're gonna get going.
Folks, as usual, welcome back. Thank you for checking in with the show. As normal, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what's going on. Let us know what you think about the show. And let us know what new ideas you may have for us to put out here in the future. And with that, I'm passing it back to my man.
All right, let's get back to it, y'all. So for today, like I said, we're talking about the Sahel revolution and and particularly Burkina Faso. So for the first topic, I'm going to pass it to my boy Slank, and he's going to introduce what's going on with General Langley, the commander or maybe former commander of AFRICOM. So Slank, what you got for us, man?
Yeah, it looks like General Langley was before the Senate. I believe it was some type of Senate committee, and basically saying that Traoré, the revolution in the Sahel, was a threat to U.S. security, and kind of backing up some of these rumors from people that have been trying to attack the revolution, saying that it's not really for the people, or things like that. He was basically down talking the revolution in a official U.S. government forum. Let me see what it says here. Yeah, he was accusing Traoré of using the gold reserves he nationalized to protect his junta. That's the quote from Langley. And he was responding to a question from Senator Roger Wicker about corruption and bribery linked to trade with China. So he was basically all around bad-mouthing Traoré, saying that he's corrupt. They're not a friend of America in his eyes, and all that kind of stuff. That sparked a backlash in Burkina Faso, where people took to the streets. I saw videos of supporters of the government, supporters of Traoré in the streets, with signs with Langley's face on them, cursing them, just all around demonstrating, getting busy. They weren't feeling what he was saying. And turns out that Trump also might not have been feeling what he was saying, because shortly after this, I think it was on June 4th or 5th, Secretary of Defense, I think Pete Hegseth, issued a statement saying that Trump is nominating a new guy to be the head of AFRICOM, which was the title that General Langley formerly held. It was a big thing when he got the appointment back in 2022 as like a black man, taking control of this high position in the U.S. military. It was supposed to be an honor or something. Like we finally made it, because now there's a black general that gets to oversee Africans and, deny their self-determination. But they're going to be replacing them. My bad.
Real quick, we also learned that the AFRICOM command is still in Germany. You know what I'm saying? Owing to its colonial legacy. And, think about Germany's role in colonizing, Africa. World War I was fought over, a lot of these things. But, the colonial residue, really more than that, is still around. I just wanted to say that real quick, Slim. My bad.
No, that's true. Because another point with that is AFRICOM has not been around as long as some of the other commands the U.S. has overseas. So, I believe that the European command used to oversee Africa too for the U.S. military, and it was around late in Bush's the Bush years that he created AFRICOM. But yeah, now they're about to make they're taking the job away from General Langley and giving it to Air Force Lieutenant I forget what his name was.
I got you. My bad.
Dagvin Anderson.
Yeah, Dagvin Anderson. Yep.
Dagvin Anderson, and the wording on the announcement by Hegseth says he's Dagvin Anderson is Trump's nominee to lead AFRICOM. So I'm not sure if that's like an appointment that has to get Senate confirmation or how that works. So maybe Langley might still be, in his office for a couple more days or something, but it looks like he's on the way out. And shortly after this whole thing, Trump actually sent an envoy to Burkina Faso. There was an article on the website lafaso.net. It's a Burkina Faso news site. And it had pictures with a white guy that Trump sent over there from the State Department. I forget his exact name. But I do remember...
Which was that the first, second, or third when you got on here?
Oh, it's... let me see. Oh, here it is. Hold up.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's kind of like... What's weird on there?
No, I got you. I'll pull it up now.
But yeah, Trump sent an envoy over to Burkina Faso to try to smooth things over and basically send the message that he didn't agree with what Langley was saying. And this looks like this emissary, U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for West Africa, Will Stevens. And he went over there and met with the Burkina Faso's Minister of Foreign Affairs, basically, Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré. And this was shortly after that whole Langley thing. So it's a clear sign that Trump didn't agree with everything Langley was saying. And is sending over this guy. And I looked into this guy's background. He's a State Department official who's been there for a long time. But one of his blurbs on this State Department website was that he was known for countering Russian propaganda. So I think this might be the guy that Trump is sending over to try and show that, hey, you guys don't need to be as friendly with Russia. You got, yeah, here it is. On his U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Nigeria page, it says that, he's known for his work leading the U.S. government interagency task force on countering Russian propaganda during the Ukraine crisis. And this is Will Stevens at the U.S. Embassy who Trump sent over to smooth things over. So to me, this shows that the U.S. is trying to, say, hey, don't turn too much to Russia. We're still willing to do trade. Or they're trying to weasel their way back in there, basically, and repair some of the damage that Langley might have done, and just some of the moves that Traoré and the country's been making on their own. But yeah.
There was also the incident of Wagner mercenaries, a mercenary group from Russia, being killed in Burkina Faso, with the help of Ukrainian intelligence, U.S. intelligence, in the support of terrorism, because the Burkina Faso soldiers are there fighting terrorism in their countries. I'll see if I can find something on it briefly. But Slang and Aki, do y'all remember that story?
Yeah, I remember. We might even mention that, or you mentioned that a couple weeks ago when we had another episode on Burkina Faso. It's definitely the Ukraine-Russia war is not just confined to Russia and Ukraine. It's everywhere they're at. They're trying to compete with each other back in different factions. I guess that means that Ukraine's backing the terrorists in Burkina Faso in that case.
Oh, for sure. So, if there's nothing else to compel, Pan-Africanists to support the Sahel region, we should think about, foreign countries in Europe supporting, terrorism in African countries, and with deaths occurring, should definitely sway Pan-African opinion. I think, not to, take us in a different direction. I think there is a lot of Pan-African support for Burkina Faso and Captain Ibrahim Traoré. There's a lot of support, throughout the diaspora. And we've shown previously the support that they have in the streets, you know what I'm saying? Which really makes you think, I guess this is a good transition. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, there are groups of, we could say postmodernists, so-called radicals, Western leftists, whatever derogatory term we want to use. But there is this narrative that is growing out of, certain, we'll say counterinsurgent circles, that the revolution in the Sahel region, the revolution in Burkina Faso, is not real, right? Not real. And I mean, y'all think I'm playing? Not playing at all. So here's an article. I'll pull it up real quick, and we won't spend long on it at this moment. But just to point out, I mean, they're discussing, this is in a Medium publication, An Injustice by Sam Young, a white leftist, if I'm not mistaken, maybe white anarchist. But this is a new intersectional publication geared towards voices, values, and identities, right? Let's just start with something ironic about this. So the first line of this, article about the Sahel region, actually says that FD Signifier is probably the most popular Black radical social commentator on YouTube. Now, how I stumbled upon this, even more ironic. Now, this is something FD Signifier. This is how I came upon the article. Can y'all see this? Make sure.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah. So FD Signifier posted on his YouTube, right? Now, mind you, I had not read the first sentence of the article yet, right? So forget the first sentence of the article for a second, right? This is the so-called most popular Black radical on YouTube, right? He says, I just came across this, and after a moment of deliberation, I decided to share. I've talked positively about Ibrahim, is this the misspelling? I don't know. Ibrahim Traoré in the past, based on what seemed like solid info. But recently, I've noticed a significant uptick in positive media about him that bears the mark of AI-generated slop, which is a huge red flag. I've since then asked around a bit and have been presented with mixed responses as to who this man really is and what he's actually doing. I'll just say I'm currently unclear, though this article paints a much more concerning picture of what's happening. So, I mean, we're seeing several things here, including the personalization of an entire country's struggle, right, against oppression. They're trying to make it about one person, you know what I'm saying? Ignoring the actual support, that's so very evident, not only throughout the diaspora, but in the country. So, I immediately was on red alert, when I seen this from FD Signifier. And then come to find out, so he's trying to paint this, sad tale about, this revelation he had. I have to ask the question, does he know Sam Young that wrote this and didn't want to tell people what the article was started out saying? Or did he not read the article before he posted it? Because how can you post, how can you, engage this topic and then post an article as, your source base or what you've been learning? And then the first line of it is praising you. FD Signifier is probably the most popular Black radical social commentator on YouTube. Can I just get, y'all's, reaction to that, before we even go on? Like, what does that strike y'all as odd?
Makes me think he might be the ghostwriter or something. Like, I don't know. It's like, oh, look, I just happened to find this article. Check it out, y'all. And then you open it and it's just praising dude. Like, who gave it to you? Like, that's crazy.
FD Signifier been suspect since the day I seen him. The fact that they said that he's one of the most radical revolutionaries or activists online is some hilarious shit. Especially based on some of the other stances that he's taken towards other things. He very much could be writing that article.
Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's sad that we even got to ask the question. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely sad we even got to ask the question. But it's so odd that, I mean, how in good conscience could you read this article and then share it with such words without acknowledging that, oh, this person is also, riding me pretty hard throughout it. But, you know what I'm saying? Why? Actually, we can turn back to the article a little bit now, because it does go on to say, that this I think, white anarchist doesn't generally agree with his perspective, which is he's a so-called radical. I'll let you go ahead and explore that topic on your own. But, because he uses critical race theory and, and talks about media, somehow he's the most popular black radical. And also it said he is that because, other black radical content creators, academics, and activists condense around him. But anyways.
I like how he gets into, this is supposed to be an article about the Sahel. And so far you got like FD Signifier biography. Then you got him going into how he learned about the word Hotep. Like, what kind of article is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get into like a historical journal or a politics, review or something legitimate and read an article and it's about one topic and you got shit like this going on.
Slang, what do you think about why is FD Signifier asking people like this for advice or insight about Burkina Faso when he can do the same Google searches we did? Why is that?
Yeah, and also you're supposed to be what this guy thinks of as the most popular black radical, but you rely on this random Medium article from this white dude as your source on Burkina Faso.
Right. And I also want to say, one big problem I have with this article, so it gets into hoteps and all that. He gets into, this idea. So the same thing, right? The same thing that we saw U.S. Africa Command and General Langley say about Burkina Faso is the same thing Sam Young and FD Signifier are saying, right? Based on what I was able to find on the three regimes in the alliance, the trend is less land back to the people and more redirecting the colonial resource extraction apparatus to benefit domestic military juntas, Russian mercenaries, and Chinese corporations.
Even the same words, junta.
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
And I mean, he said China. And also, of course, we know that the person appointed to AFRICOM, the new person, is about countering Russian propaganda. So this might be something written by Dagvin Anderson. Really?
Him and Will Stevens got together. That U.S. envoy guy.
Yeah.
They got together with FD Signifier. They had a round table and put something down on paper, you know what I'm saying?
And also I want to point out that none of these links existed originally when the article was first posted. It wasn't until after I made the tweet that got a lot of engagement on Twitter to where they actually put links in that. And also let me show you also FD Signifier's YouTube post supporting the article got deleted.
You got people deleting posts now, man?
So without no response. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'll let the audience determine if they felt the heat or not. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's stuff that we need to be calling out, but something else troubling that was in the article. We probably shouldn't even really stop with the article yet. Let me give a little bit more on the article. So we pointed out how this is, definitely an extension of, U.S. counterinsurgent propaganda. It starts getting into, direct, postmodernism, talking about how this revolution is hyper real. It's not actually real. It's not materially real. They even talk about how hyper reality is more or less the state of postmodernity. So this is a very postmodernist assessment. And they're trying to argue because AI generated content, a lot of it bad, some of it worthwhile and useful, you know what I'm saying? But because AI generated content exists, that's the reason, that's the evidence, you know what I'm saying, that can be given to say why they're actually against the people. They're not genuine. They're just pawns of Russia and China. You know what I'm saying? And also it's not real. It's only hyper real because of, AI, you know what I'm saying? So I guess I asked the question myself, like, is the AI generated content being produced by people that are trying to supply this counterinsurgent narrative, right? Of this revolution not being real. Because if it's not real, why support it, right? So just to show you real quick how absurd this article continues in this postmodernist slop, I'm gonna call this postmodernist slop. It starts getting into pornography, y'all. It starts getting into pornography and erectile dysfunction and shit.
Hold on.
Tell me what... Yeah, I'm telling you.
This is what FD Signifier thought was a deep analysis of the Sahel region that was worth sharing on his to his vast YouTube community.
Look, men's ability to become aroused and enjoy sex is infiltrated by pornography, thus premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction. FD Signifier, what does this have to do with Captain Ibrahim Traoré in the Sahel Revolution?
Oh, wow.
But he posted it. Let's come back again. Let's now, viewing how bullshit the article is, let's come back again to FD Signifier's words. I just came across this, and after a moment of deliberation, I decided to share. Was the moment of deliberation the check clearing? That's my question. Was the moment of deliberation the check clearing? Because this ain't adding up to me. An article that starts off praising you, then shits on the revolution, and then gets into erectile dysfunction?
And hoteps and everything but was... Yeah. And then uses AI to shit on the revolution. That's their only proof. Yeah.
Something's not adding up, y'all. I think that there's some counterinsurgency going on, whether conscious or unconscious, and it needs to be uprooted. That's the only reason we talking about this and you know, shining a light. What I said on the tweet, I said he's sharing white leftist lies about the Sahel Alliance, spread the word. And I think that's why, you know, what I think we need to do. It prepares people to counter this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Slank and Aki, y'all got anything else on this bullshit?
No, I want to touch on the AI issue a little bit.
Bet.
Like, because I've seen it too. Like, there's a lot of, I see it on Twitter mostly, verified accounts who are obviously, so they're getting paid when they tweet from Elon, posting AI images or like information about the revolution with no source, very little context. Sometimes it might not even be factual information. And me and Sonny have been talking about this, like he mentioned it seems like it's some type of, here's an example used in this article by this white leftist of one of these Twitter accounts that post a lot of information, no source, it'll just say something. I think in this case, they claim that Burkina Faso was now going to be the only first country in Africa to produce their own tomato concentrate. And it's like a claim like that obviously I guess Nigeria has already long done that, so it was easily a disproven claim. You got these like stock images of tomato paste and stuff. When there's actual events happening in Burkina Faso, positive things that they could have shared. Like here's an article from lefaso.net talking about how they're building the first tomato processing plant in this specific area of Burkina Faso. You got pictures of Traoré laying the foundation stones. You know, him meeting with the people. There's a whole article from the country with, you know, quotes from government officials on this development. I think if you scroll down a little bit more, there's even like, what did it say? Yeah, there's like community groups out there watching the opening of this tomato processing plant. But there's real events that you can share. You don't have to make up facts. You don't have to share AI. And every time I see these accounts on Twitter share this information with these AI images and stuff, I usually quote tweet them and say, can you please share real pictures? Can you please share a link to the actual interview? You know, stuff like that, because I'm not coming at it from a point of the whole revolution's fake because this random account is trying to get ad revenue on Twitter. It's more, stop doing that because you're making what is happening look suspect now. Everybody's going to have to question things. And it's just we need verification and of what we're seeing, because a lot of stuff out there is intentionally put out there to create confusion, basically.
Right. Now, I agree. It's put out there to create confusion, but I had to just underline again, I find it highly suspect that Black Radical, so-called the most popular Black Radical on YouTube, how can you let the existence of AI slop make it so you ignore all the actual research you could be doing? You're willfully ignorant for the enemy. In less than 5 minutes of searching for actual sources in the country, we found these examples. You know what I'm saying? So this idea that just because AI content exists, I don't know, how does the logical leap to the revolution itself being fake and it being against the people, something that runs directly counter to what they're actually saying. So how much do you even, how much agency do you even give the people of Burkina Faso, FD Signifier? That's my question. Aki, you want to hop on here before?
Yeah, I apologize to the people for the lag, y'all. We're storming here right now. But AI is going to be used as a tool by the enemy against revolutions around the country and around the world. As Sonny said, though, that doesn't discount that the revolution is real. AI is going to be used to generate false propaganda, whether to bring people or to bring people against natural revolutions that's going on. Like Slank said, they could easily talk to the people on the ground. There's many organizations, many people that support it. When you get the real news and the real information about what's going on in Burkina Faso, you see that the people support it to the fullest. They out in the streets, they marching, they protesting, they have parades, they doing all types of things to support this man and what he's doing. Far as being the number one, like Slank said, they're not necessarily they want to be the number one tomato producers, but these are things that they're using to put propaganda out there. People are going to start using AI to produce false propaganda against righteous revolutionary movements. So it's something we got to watch out for, but that means we have to start getting more legitimate on the ground news, about these movements.
Yeah. And I think anybody that calls themselves, a black radical leader, black radical thought leader should know better to not investigate clear propaganda. You know what I'm saying? And you're not even trying to read against the official narrative. How dare you just go along with something that AFRICOM is saying? You know what I'm saying?
I would have had more respect for him at just saying like, he's a sellout if he just straight up shared Langley's words and agreed with them versus using the white leftists as a go-between to share a filtered, weird version of Langley stuff. Because you just shared Langley stuff plus some stuff about hoteps and pornography. Bro. What do you got going on here? It don't make sense.
I don't know how the two of them go together anyway.
They don't.
So with that being said, y'all, we're gonna leave y'all with I guess how FD Signifier responded to me when I called him out, you know what I'm saying, just by deleting the post. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it goes sometime, But we hope that y'all was able to, really dig in with us on this topic. Of course it's important. Trying to, untangle it a little bit. I think we were somewhat successful tonight. If you agree, please let us know by liking, sharing, commenting, and reach out to us. Let us know how you feeling, what we doing. So yeah. Anything else from y'all before we get out of here?
No, I don't have none either.
All right, bet. Peace, y'all. Peace and love.
Peace.